What is up, you guys? It's your favorite cutie Mel, back to give you guys yet another video. We're here to continue our conversation about All About Love by Bell Hooks. So we are on the final chapter today. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this series. I don't know how many people have watched the whole thing. Maybe none of you have. Perhaps someone in the future will find this series helpful or really enjoy it and watch it from beginning to end, chapter 1 to 13. But I just want to thank you, even you in the future, for watching, and you helped me accountable to finishing this out and really seeing this whole book through, and hopefully there are many to come. So please go ahead and give this video a huge thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this series. I think what I'll do after this video is just add one more, like my final thoughts on the video, like a book review in all, and then we'll just go from there. So this is chapter 13. It's called Destiny. When Angels Speak of Love. Love is our destiny. Love is our true destiny. We do not find the meaning of life by ourselves alone. We find it with another. Thomas Merton. So I'm not gonna lie, when I first started off reading this chapter, I found it hard to kind of like get into it, because it starts off talking a lot about like angels and like angels in our life. I do agree with the fact that there's some sort of spiritual presence all around. I don't know, I kind of go back and forth on whether I believe in angels specifically, or I don't know. I go back and forth with the idea. So I'm not gonna lie, she led with like kind of like a Bible kind of references, talking about Jacob's story. So I read through that and I got it, but honestly I didn't find too much significance in it. It just, I don't know, I wasn't really into it. But I will start here. Love does not lead to an end to difficulties. It provides us with the means to cope with our difficulties in ways that enhance our growth. So I feel like that's just a common thing that was said in the book, and I felt like I should just reiterate it one last time, since it was in the last chapter, that like, even though, you know, we look at love as such a positive thing, and it is a positive thing, but the truth is, like, it's not an easy thing, and it's not always going to be easy. There will be moments of ease, but it's not like once you fall in love or you have love in your life that everything is perfect. But it's definitely worth it, and being able to see yourself through those challenges is where you can strengthen connections, you can learn, you can challenge yourself to be better, and vice versa with whoever you're interacting with. It's beautiful. We too can choose serenity in the midst of struggle. In that calmness, we begin to understand that peace is the opposite of challenge and hardship. We understand that the presence of light is not a result of darkness and ending. Peace is not found in the absence of challenge, but in our own capacity to be with the hardship without judgment, prejudice, and resistance. We discover that we have the energy and the faith to heal ourselves and the world through open-heartedness in this movement. As Jacob embraces his adversary, okay, so then she goes back into the story, but this was basically the common theme of the story, and I wanted to kind of share that. And I think that this reminded me a lot about manifestation, and like when we really want something in our lives, not even just love. It's like the moment that you're able to kind of relax, and, you know, even if you're going through a hard time and you're hoping that whatever you're trying to manifest or praying is going to happen tomorrow, really the magic begins to happen when you start to trust life, trust where you are, whether you have to trust in that relationship, trust in, you know, whatever is going on, and just be able to take a deep breath and allow life to happen. And even though it doesn't always look the best, and it can seem like a lot of things are going wrong, the moment that you learn how to have peace within your struggle, within your discomfort, it really helps to just create a lot of positive things. It helps you to get through life easier. Not that it's easy, but it does help you when you can kind of detach from your problems and find peace within whatever your particular struggle or your situation is. So, and with faith, because you have faith, when you can tap into your faith, that's what allows you to kind of put down your problems for a while and be like, you know what, I know what's happening on the outside, but I know and I have faith that things are changing all the time for my good. So let's keep going. One who retreats or runs from his encounter with spiritual reality cannot be transformed. Woundedness. Okay, so let me stop there. So that's the piece that I highlighted, because I feel like that's just with anything. If you want to heal something, you need to be able to take time and sit with it. If you constantly are just running from it, you're not able to really get to the root of what the problem is, and you will just continue to come back to it. I think we all have had these conversations. For me specifically, I talk about this a lot. You probably already know how forgiveness used to be a major struggle for me, and I think that I would just kind of be like, yeah, I know that I need to forgive, but never truly do whatever was needed. And I feel like all of it was needed, because I do believe in, sometimes it's just a process. Sometimes it's not a one and done. It's not like, oh, I'm going to decide to be a more forgiving person and then it's just that. Like, no, it takes practice, it takes time, it's a process, and through that process you gain perspective on how important certain things are, and that gives you the motivation, the inspiration, and the patience to sit with whatever it is that's bothering you, whether it's pain, whether it's hurt, whatever it is, so that you can actually heal. So as long as you're running away from something, you're not able to sit with it and really feel it. And I feel like feeling it and just taking accountability for your life right now. Maybe it was out of your control what happened to you before. Maybe when you were a child, you know, it was your parents who made you feel a certain kind of way, or things that happened to you that weren't favorable as a child. But ultimately, like, you can still take control and take accountability for what your life is right now, and how you're going to allow or not allow that thing to affect your life. Like, you know, because it definitely was affecting my life. And, you know, this is a constant process, and that's why I feel like we should be more patient with ourselves, because truthfully, I don't believe that there's ever a point where you're just 100% just going to be healed with everything, and oh, everything is just peaches, and I'm just, you know, that time doesn't come. But as long as you're just actively being patient and just working on what you can work on, I think that's beautiful. Okay. Woundedness is not a cause for shame. It's necessary for spiritual growth and awakening. I can remember how strange it seemed to me as a child when I read this story. So she's just talking about what she got out of a Bible story. I don't necessarily believe that for you to grow that you need to do it through pain. I think that sometimes you could witness something that's not necessarily painful to you, and you can learn from it, or you can read a book like this and you can learn and be motivated to work on yourself spiritually, work on yourself. I don't believe that everything has to come out of struggle. So that part, she kind of lost me, but I get what she's saying. It does help when you do go through painful. I think pain kind of stops us in our tracks sometimes, and that gives us a reason to sit with things. Sometimes when we're not negatively affected, sometimes, not all the time, you know, it's easy to breeze through stuff, you know, because it's just like, whatever, like, I'm good. Okay. Shame divides us from ourselves. It divides us from other people because we still yearn for reunion. Shame is deeply disturbing. Shame about woundedness keeps many people from seeking healing. That rather deny or repress the reality of hurt. In our culture, we hear a lot about guilt, but not enough about the politics of shame. As we feel shame, we can never believe ourselves worthy of love. Shame about being hurt often has its origin in childhood, and it is then that many of us learn that it is a virtue to be silent about pain. So recently, even after reading this, I watched a Jay Shetty interview with Paris Hilton, and she talked about how she went through multiple sexual abuses. Can't really say that on YouTube, but she went through a lot as a child, and she talked about how she never talked about certain things until I think she's like 36 or even 40, I'm not even sure, until she wrote down in her book like what had happened to her in her memoir. That was the first time that she really opened up and talked about the shame that she felt. And I do believe shame keeps us quiet, because it's just like, because woundedness is a thing, and because, like, you know, it's uncomfortable, and like I think it's not even just us having uncomfortableness around holding people accountable. Like, when something gets done to us, especially if it's done in something that has a lot of taboo around it, like sex, it discourages you, because people don't always handle people who have been through stuff with care, first of all. So I feel like it's hard enough for people to open up and tell anybody, even people that they love, that they've been through certain things, let alone open up to more people and share what happened, to possibly be rejected, told that you're wrong, ask questions about what you did, even if it had nothing to do with you and it wasn't your fault, or, you know, certain things just shouldn't happen to you, even if you are making a mistake, or even if you put yourself in a bad situation. Certain things, as far as just respect between two people, just should not happen, period. So there is no blaming. But it's hard, you know, it's hard. And shame can stay with you for such a long time, and it can just make you feel like something's wrong with you, because it just eats you alive, you know. So I found that powerful. As more people have found the courage to break through shame and speak about woundedness in their lives, we are now subjected to a mean-spirited cultural response where all talk of woundedness is mocked. The belittling of anyone's attempt to name a context within when they were wounded, were made a victim, is a form of shaming. It is a psychological terrorism. Shaming breaks our hearts. And I love how she just words things so well, because like, perfect. Chef's kiss on how she worded that. All individuals who are genuinely seeking well-being within a healing context realize that it is important to that process. All individuals who are genuinely seeking well-being within a healing context realize that it is important to that process not to make being a victim a stance of pride or a location from which to simply blame others. We need to speak of our shame, of our pain, courageously in order to recover. Addressing woundedness is not about blaming others. However, it does allow individuals who have been and are hurt to insist on accountability and responsibility, both from themselves and from those who were the agents of their suffering, as well as those who bore witness. Constructive confrontation aids our healing. Yeah, I really agree with that, because like, it's really easy when somebody has done something to us to kind of take the stance of being a victim, because it's just like, you know, especially when someone doesn't take accountability for hurting you, it's really easy to get caught up and stuck in that victim mindset. But the truth is, at some point, regardless of whether a person comes around or not, we have to take control of our own destinies and decide that, you know, I'm not going to be a victim, and I'm going to work through this, whether I have to work through it on my own, whether this person accepts accountability or not. Like, this is something that's affecting me and affecting my life, and whatever you have to do to heal yourself, whether speaking about it helps, or just having a conversation, or just being more open, I don't know, whatever your process is, it's just go for it without getting stuck in like, woe is me, you know. It's okay. I honestly believe it's okay to be there for a while, because I feel like when you are meant to be a victim in some way, you need to take time to not be okay with that. Like, it's okay to sit in that for a while. Just don't get stuck in it, because I feel like that's a part of the healing, to recognize that, yes, this did happen to me, and this should not have happened to me, and this person made me a victim. But after you feel those feelings, and nobody could really tell you how long to feel those feelings, but after you feel those feelings, do your best to try to move out of the victim, because that's going to help you feel so much better about yourself. It helps you to regain control of your narrative and turn your pain into something that could be beautiful and helpful to other people, if you want to share it. So then the last few pages of this, she just goes back in talking about the Bible story, and let's see, just kind of summing up the book. And then the last thing that she says is, they tell us paradise is our home, and love our true destiny. And I just felt like this chapter, I'm glad that it was at the end, because I feel like if it was in the beginning, I feel like it could be off-putting to people who are not really into like religion per se. And I'm honestly not a super fan of the last chapter. I feel like the last chapter was the weakest chapter. but that's just for me. I don't know, it could be very powerful for someone else, especially someone who is like very rooted in like Christianity and the Bible and things like that. But overall, I'm happy that I read this book. This book contributed to my growth. It's contributing to my growth. When I'm having conflicts with others, I'm learning to have patience. I'm having the courage to not just, get rid of people, but to have conversations and kind of stick through the uncomfortable times. I do believe that for sometimes you're not always going to be able to save relationships with people. And I don't think that everybody that comes in your life is meant to be in your life forever. But I do think that this book just basically told me that when I do have love, I can embrace it without fear. And when there are hard times, it's okay to have more grace. More grace for yourself, more grace for the person that you're dealing with. Because the truth is, we've all have dealt with some sort of lovelessness. All of us have some sort of pain that we're healing from. And, it's not really our job to fix anybody. But being a loving person in someone's life is so beautiful and so impactful. And I hope to be a more loving character in the story of everybody around me as a result of this book, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, romantic, whatever it is, whatever the case is. I want to be a better mom because of this book. I want to be more patient, more loving, more respectful, learning how much respect plays into love. Genuine, true love makes a huge difference to know that, because it's just like, if you're experiencing like so much disrespect, like, it's not love. And the same is true for if you're disrespecting someone that you're in a relationship with. That's not love. So learning the real definition of what love is, at least in this book, really helps me to frame and be able to discern a lot better what is the real from the fake. And that's why I suggest this book to anybody who's interested in like relationships, anybody who's trying to learn to be just a better person. As always, the link will be in the description down below, as long as my merch. Definitely check out my Patreon if you guys want to support me on the channel to give me more time to read more books and show up for you guys in this way. If you have any books that you want me to read, leave them down below. I have like a little list. I have a couple books already that I'm going to try to get up on the channel, that I'm going to like even refresh on some touching on like the subconscious mind. You guys know I love like manifestation. I love how our mind works with creating our life. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about love and just things that I feel like help people to learn to have a more fulfilled life. I'm interested in. So as always, you guys, stay posh and stay cute. Please check down those links below. Get my Be My Lover merch. Support your girl. And I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Bye.